right? So recursion is an important concept in computer science. So what it is all about is calling the same function repeatedly but with different set of parameters. Say for example, P is a procedure containing either a call statement to itself or call to some other statement that in turn is going to call that particular function. That is a call statement to second procedure that may eventually result in a call to statement block to the original procedure P. So that is called as, then the P is called as a recursive procedure. So that the program will not continue running indefinitely, a recursive procedure must have the following two properties. What is recursion? I will explain it diagrammatically. What is recursion? I will explain it diagrammatically. If there is function 1 and function 2, function 3. So usually what happens, one function may call another function and that in turn may call another function and it may return the results and this in turn may return the results back to the functions. So that is what is normal procedure call. That is what is normal procedure call. In case of recursive procedure call, what happens here is a function may call itself. A function may call itself. That is called as recursion or recursive procedure. That is one way. Another way is a function f1 may call another function f2, f2 may call f3, then f3 in turn will call f1. That is f2 will call f3. This f3 in turn will call f1. That is called as recursion. That is another way of recursion, indirect recursion. So this is called f1 is calling f2, f2 is calling f3, and f3 is calling f1. So where is the recursion here? It is called as direct recursion. The first one is direct recursion and second one is indirect recursion. A function is calling itself. That is called as indirect recursion. But when some functions are getting called itself, there are possibilities that we may encounter infinite loop. The loop may not terminate. We may encounter infinite number of iterations without stopping. So for that purpose, the recursive procedure should have the following criteria. What is that? There must be certain criteria that is called as base criteria for which the procedure does not call itself. Because if some function is there, f1, which is calling itself repeatedly again and again, then it may not stop. And it is going to consume the processor speed and process resources unnecessarily. So there must be some means to stop that. That is called as base criteria. And second condition here is each time the procedure is called, either directly or indirectly. I told what is direct and what is indirect. Each time you call that procedure, it must be closer to the base criteria. That means it should reach to the terminating condition. Base criteria or terminating condition. It should go to that. Then only it is called as proper recursive procedure. Then only it is called as proper recursive procedure. Say for example, factorial of a function. So what they have taken, the very first example is in the factorial, calculation of a factorial. So how do you calculate the factorial of a number? So we calculate factorial of a number. The example for recursion. Example for recursion or recursive procedure. Factorial n. We know that factorial n is nothing but n into n minus 1 factorial. We can write it like this. And this in turn, this n minus 1 in turn can again be shortened. This can also be written as again n into n minus 1 factorial. You can go on calling the same function recursively. But for these, what could be the base criteria? We know that factorial 0. Because there, you must be able to terminate that. We know that factorial 0 is equal to 1. And factorial 1 is also equal to 1. Yes or no? So is factorial 0 is equal to 1? Am I right? Can someone confirm? Yes, factorial 0 is equal to 1 and factorial 1 is also equal to 1 because these are the terminating criteria. Beyond this, you should not go because factorial of a negative number is not existing. So these are the base criteria when you are calculating the factorial of a number. When you are calculating the factorial of a number. So that is, for example, how we can write factorial 5 can be written like this: 5 into 4 factorial. 5 into 4 factorial. So I'll try to solve that. How can we solve the factorial 5? Factorial 5 can be written like this: 5 into 4 factorial. That means first you should get the value of 4 factorial, whatever value we get here. Then this 4 factorial can be written like this: 4 into 4 minus 1 factorial. That is nothing but what? 4, I'll write directly. N into n minus 1 factorial, that is simple procedure. This can also be written like this: 4 into 3 factorial. This is what is recursion. We are calling the same function itself. Factorial 3, how it can be written? 3 into 2 factorial. Factorial 2, how will you write? 2 into 1 factorial. So we have the base condition for 1 factorial. We know the results of this 0 factorial and 1 factorial. So if you want, you can go one more step further, or you can stop here. What is factorial 1? Factorial 1, we know that factorial 1 is 1. So no need to go beyond that. Factorial 1 is 1. So 2 into 1 is what? The result of this is 2. So once you get this result 2, give it to this. Because what is the factorial 2 result we have got now? From here we called this function again, and we reached the base criteria, terminating criteria, and we are again coming back. Now the results are being returned. What is the result of this 2? 2 is being returned to this place. What is the outcome of this factorial 2? Now return values I'll show in different color. Right? Once we have written this, so let us start returning the values. So 2 into 1 is factorial 1 is 1. So 2 into 1 is 2. So return this 2 to this location. What return we have got now? Outcome of this is 2. So 3 into 2 is how much? 3 into 2 is 6. So this 6 will be passed to this 3 factorial. What is the result of this 3 factorial? 3 factorial is 6. So now calculate 4 into 6. 4 into 6 is how much? 24. This 24 will be passed to will be returned back to the caller. Then what is the outcome of this 4 factorial? 4 factorial is 24. 24 into 5 is how much? Is it 120? 24 into 5 is 120. Yes, 24 into 5 is 120. So result of 5 factorial is 120. So that is how, this is how the recursive procedures will work. So basically the recursive procedures will work in this way whenever we calculate the factorial of a number. So in the forward, in the white line, whatever I have written is, that is forward call. That is, we go on reducing the problem in terms of itself, but with different arguments. Then at the end, we reach the base criteria. We will not go further. And then we start returning the values back to the caller. And then we'll get the final result by combining all the received results. So this is what is written theoretically properly. It is given. If n is equal to 0, then factorial n is equal to 1. We know that 0 factorial is 1. Then this is the condition. If n is greater than 1, then you try to solve it like this. How? Factorial n is given by n into n minus 1. Just now we have seen the case. What is that? Factorial 5 is given by 5 into 4 factorial. Factorial 4 is given by 4 into 3 factorial. Factorial 3 is given by 3 into 2 factorial. Factorial 2 is given by 2 into 1 factorial. Factorial 1 is given by 1 into 0 factorial, because here the base criteria is taken as 0. If value of n is 0, we take it as 1. That is, terminating condition for this factorial function is value of n as 0. The same procedure what I written, it has been solved like this. The recursive procedure. So once again, you can concentrate here. I'll explain the recursive procedure, how the factorial will get solved. So this is an example for solving factorial 4. We know that factorial 4 is 24, but how actually it will be solved recursively. So first factorial 4 will be written as 4 into 3 factorial. Because the procedure we are using, general procedure, any factorial n is given by n into n minus 1 factorial. Now if it is value of n is 4, that 4 will be written as 4 into 3 factorial. Factorial 4 is written as 4 into 3 factorial. Now to get the solution for this 4 into 3 factorial, you must be able to solve this 3 factorial. So try to solve this 3 factorial. So that will be again written in terms of its smaller entities. How to again reduce that. Right. So this is written like this 4 into 3 factorial. Now you should solve this 3 factorial. This 3 factorial is written here. That is how in terms of n into n minus 1 factorial. What is n? N is 3. So this is nothing but n into n minus 1 factorial. I am writing in terms of its smaller entities. N into within the bracket n minus 1 factorial. That is n is 3. 3 into 2. 3 minus 1 is 2. 3 into 2 factorial. Again, try to solve this factorial 2 in terms of smaller entities. This can be written as n into n minus 1 factorial. That is 2 into 2 minus 1 is 1. 2 into 1 factorial. Again, solve this 1 factorial because you have to continue till you get the 0. Factorial 1 is written as 1 into 1 minus 1 factorial. 1 minus 1 is 0. 0 factorial. But we know that 0 factorial is Bayes criteria, what it is taken here. Specifically, when n is 0, we call it as factorial 0 is equal to 1. That's what we are treating. Now we have reached the Bayes criteria. That is, Bayes criteria is reached. This is also called as terminating condition. This is also called as terminating condition because beyond this we will not repeat the procedure. This is also called as terminating condition. But this will be now replacing these values. Return these values back, they in turn will be returned to the hierarchy. But instead of showing it here, it is shown like this here. Both are same, anyway you can use. So this is written here now. 1 into 0 factor. What is 0 factorial? 1. So 1 into 1 is how much? 1 into 1 is 1 only. So what is the outcome of factorial 1? Factorial 1 is 1. This is being written here. This is being written, rewritten here. So how do you write factorial 2? 2 into 1 factorial. What is 1 factorial? 1. So 2 into 1 is how much? 2. This is simply a mathematics, not more than that. Right? Next, when we have 2 factorial, the result of 2 factorial is 2. Then try to solve 3 factorial. 3 factorial is given by 3 into 2 factorial. Factorial 2, we know that it is 2 only. So 3 into 2 is how much? 6. What is the result of this 3 factorial? 6. Now 4 into 6 is how much? 4 into 6 is 24. So what is the final result of factorial 4? Final result of factorial 4 is 24. That is how we solve the recursive procedure. But for implementing this, we'll be using the stacks. So one of the fundamental application of stack here is to solve the recursive procedure, we'll be making use of stacks. Because we push the intermediate result and we again will call the next statement for execution. And while returning, we go on popping the elements and give back to the previous caller. That is how we use. This is the same theory which is explained here. This is a simple algorithm that is factorial. We go on calculating, we call in terms of itself, and wherever we encounter n equal to 0, then we are going to say factorial as 1. This was one of the example for recursive procedure. One of the example for recursive procedure. Now another example here is a Fibonacci series. What actually is a Fibonacci series? This is also which is covered in C. Still, I'll repeat. So what it is called as a series, a sequence of numbers in which the first two numbers are fixed. That is, for value of n equal to 0 or n equal to 1, the nth Fibonacci is n itself. That is, the Fibonacci sequence goes like this. I'll write it here. The Fibonacci series. Here also the recursion involves Fibonacci series, or it is also called as Fibonacci sequence. So how do you calculate the Fibonacci sequence? The Fibonacci sequence is just calculated by assuming that the first two numbers are fixed. That is Fibonacci, the first Fibonacci number is 0. The second Fibonacci number is 1. These two are fixed. And if you want to calculate the next Fibonacci number, that is given by sum of the previous two numbers. If you want to calculate next number, add these two. That is 1. 1 plus 0 is 1. If you want to get the next number, add previous two. 1 plus 1 is 2. The next number is 2. If you want to get the third next number, add these two previous two numbers. 1 plus 2 is 3. If you want to get the next number, add these two. 2 plus 3 is 5. To get the next number, add these two. 3 plus 5 is 8. To get the next number, add these two. 8 plus 5 is 13. To get the next number, add these two. This is how the procedure will continue. So basically, this is what is first Fibonacci number. That is for value of 0th. If you are starting the Fibonacci sequence from 0, we treat it as 0th Fibonacci number. Then it is first Fibonacci number. That is 0th Fibonacci number and first Fibonacci number are fixed. That is 0th Fibonacci number is 0. First Fibonacci number is 1. That sequence is fixed. Right? That is what is very simple Fibonacci sequence. Then for all other remaining numbers also, we know that that is true. But for all other numbers other than 0 and 1, what we have to do? Just add the previous two numbers. As I explained just now, the nth Fibonacci number is given by sum of previous two numbers. That is, the nth Fibonacci number, any Fibonacci number is given by the sum of previous two numbers. 8 plus 3 is equal to 21. So that is what is the next Fibonacci number. The next Fibonacci number is 34. That is how the sequence is going to continue. So that is what is another example, that is Fibonacci sequence, where the recursive procedure will be involved. Fibonacci sequence. One more example what we have is GCD, that is calculation of GCD. But before I go for, I think I took around 1 hour. I'll see what else I can do. So I think I should not take much now because I'll stop here. Probably in the next class. Shall we continue the class after some gap? Anyhow, all are free. It depends on your availability. No reactions from your side. You can take a gap of 15 minutes. So please.